Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I wanted to really explore the trade proposal that I keep seeing all over the place, right? It's all over the internet. It's D.K Metcalf, wide receiver from the Seahawks, to the Jets in exchange for the 10th overall pick. Okay, now there's a lot of pros, there's some cons. We're going to cover both sides here. Let's not waste time. Let's jump in. So right off the bat, DK Metcalf is an unbelievable talent at the wide receiver position, and we all know this. The size, plus the speed, plus the athleticism. I mean, it is crazy. He's like a track star, but he's built like a tight end. You think of the fastest wide receivers in football, you probably think of guys like Deshaun Jackson, Tyreek Hill, Robbie Anderson maybe. DK Metcalf is right there. He's arguably the fastest wide receiver in football, but the difference between DK and those guys, he's 6'4", 235 pounds. Okay, he humiliates corners almost on a week-to-week basis. Okay, he's consistent. Again, great size and speed. He's a durable player as well. He's played in 49 games in 3 years. This past season, he played in 17 games, had 75 receptions, 967 receiving yards with 12 touchdowns. Consistent production all across the board. He's actually never had a season underneath 900 receiving yards. I think that says something. You know, coming into the Seahawks locker room, this franchise, as a second-round pick, DK is really, he exploded onto the scene. Funny enough, he was actually one of those guys back at Ole Miss, AJ Brown, you know, that Ole Miss team was just stacked, but I felt like he was considered like a top 10 pick, top 15 pick. And then, as we all know, and everybody kind of knew DK was going to be fantastic at the NFL level. And then at the combine, he ended up putting up some pretty poor numbers in the 3-cone drill and I believe the short shuttle. And long story short, his stock fell. I mean, it fell hard. He went from being a top 15, top 10 pick to all of a sudden going in round 2 to the Seattle Seahawks. And I mean, I remember the experts were saying that he can't move laterally. He might only be a deep threat at the NFL level, just a big body box out type of guy. But look, DK, I mean, from the second he arrived in Seattle, he became one of the emerging stars at the wide receiver position in the entire NFL. Okay, he quickly put that speculation to bed. So we start taking a look at DK and trying to project him into this Jets offense, right? What are the pros? I think the thing that needs to be said first is the fact that DK would come in and be the best wide receiver on the team the second he arrives in Florham Park. I mean, we're taking a look at the roster. Cole, Crowder, Berrios all set to hit the open market. On the roster currently, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims. Yeah, DK is easily the number one guy, the best out of the bunch. Okay, so whenever you can upgrade, add a player, whether it's free agency, trade, draft, whenever you can add a player and he instantly becomes the best on the team, he leapfrogs everybody and he is the number one option there, it is a power move. It will definitely help your team moving forward. The second pro, I think DK Metcalf's skill set is exactly what the Jets need as far as somebody who can stretch the field. Height, size, power at the wide receiver position. I like a lot of guys on this roster, but, and assuming we do bring Berrios back here, I could be wrong for that, but let's just hypothetically say we do it, the Jets don't really have a lot of height at the receiver spot. I mean, we just don't. Corey Davis is a big guy. Denzel Mims is a big guy, but it doesn't really feel like Denzel is in the long-term plans of the franchise. I mean, DK is, again, he's like a wide receiver in a tight end's body. He brings a lot of just raw power, and that also will translate to blocking on the outside. That's something that I feel a lot more comfortable with Davis and DK doing, as opposed to putting Elijah Moore on the outside and trying to like let him block an aggressive corner trying to come up and stop the run. I think another hidden benefit that DK would bring to this offense is the fact that he would alleviate some of the pressure off of Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, and even Michael Carter in the pass game to a certain degree, to make plays. Right? Because now all of a sudden defensive coordinators have to worry about a premier wide receiver on the outside that can beat you over the top. Now all of a sudden the safeties have to play on their heels a little bit. Now, hey, we might have to double cover a DK Metcalf. We have to worry about him in the deep parts of the field, which could open up Elijah Moore underneath. It could open up Michael Carter, just as, you know, quick little slip screens, quick little swing passes to the outside, get him the ball quickly. And of course, Corey Davis working off of play action over the middle of the field, and even one-on-one coverage on the opposite side of the field, okay? Which I do feel like, I do feel pretty confident in Corey's ability to win one-on-one battles, 50-50 balls, because he does have size and strength, but it really wasn't something that defensive coordinators were worrying about last season when they were playing the Jets offense. I felt like really the only thing that would throw them through a loop was the scheme itself, and then Zach Wilson just extending a play on a broken play, right, where just anything could happen with his arm strength, where he could just fire the football down the field. I think with DK Metcalf, it would just open up tons of doors, tons of opportunities for this Jets offense to have success, not only just physically, but mentally as well. So even though there's tons of positives with a possible DK Metcalf acquisition, there are a couple drawbacks that we do have to talk about. The first, and most obvious, we would have to give up a top 10 pick. Okay, whenever you're giving up a top 10 draft selection, you are giving up a premium asset. Okay, you are saying goodbye to a player, a potential superstar that's on a super cheap contract for 4 to 5 seasons. I mean, that is a really tough thing to part ways with. Okay, now of course you could say, hey, we're getting a true number one wide receiver, a proven guy. All these draft guys, it doesn't matter how good of a prospect you are, it's not a proven thing, it's not set in stone that these guys will translate to the NFL level, and that is 100% true. But the fact remains, if you're a young rebuilding football team, okay, a top 10 draft selection is extremely sought after. Another con/negative here with acquiring a DK Metcalf is the fact that he's entering the last year on his contract. Yes, he's only 24 years old, but he was a second round pick, so you don't have that extra 5th year option that you could just lay on there. You have to extend him. Okay, I don't want to be in a situation where the Jets, again, a young rebuilding team here, they're giving away a top 10 draft pick. You're acquiring a guy last year of his deal. Say he doesn't want to be there. Say JD and Metcalf can't reach a long-term extension. Okay, now all of a sudden, you've given away a premium asset for a 1-year rental. Not only is that just embarrassing, but it would be a massive blow to the franchise long term. Let's explore the idea of an extension actually getting done. Awesome. You know, we're bringing in Metcalf, a top wide receiver in football. We already talked about all the positives, but now we're in a position where we're going to have to dish out, I believe, over $20 million a year. Okay, I think that's what Metcalf would command. You look at the market value, you look at where other receivers are paid, right, in the same kind of, or were paid in the same age group years ago, like Amari Cooper signing that 5-year, $100 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys. That's $20 million. Okay, Keenan Allen's another guy, 4 years, $80 million. DK Metcalf is not only just younger than all those guys, right, at the time of signing, but DK holds all the cards as far as the negotiation process is concerned. Teams can't say, oh, why did your numbers dip, right? Why did they fall off a cliff this 1 year? Oh, what happened with this injury? Why did you miss the entire season? Oh, you got in trouble. We're the only team that's offering you a deal. You have to kind of meet our needs. No, DK has everything going for him in his favor. Size, speed, production, durability, reliability, consistency, all ascending player. All of these things are in Metcalf's favor, and that is when, I mean, you just start thinking about the annual number continuing to go up, and I think his agent is really going to try to secure Metcalf a mega deal, and let's be honest, he deserves one. But are the Jets in a position to hand that out? So we've talked about the positives, we've talked about the negatives. This is kind of my take on it. If the Jets were to go out and trade for a DK Metcalf, let's just say tomorrow, next week, I would be extremely pumped up. But at the same time, it would be tough to say goodbye to a top 10 pick. I think if the decision was up to me, I would rather keep the 10th overall pick. And I do want to throw this in there as well, okay? Although this has been a pretty crazy rumor, DK Metcalf getting traded, the Seahawks don't have this guy in the trade block. They've given no sort of indication that he's going to be moved, that they want him out, or anything like that. It's all sort of just speculation, all kind of like up in the air, off-season rumblings, off-season smoke, all that kind of stuff. Would Seattle trade away one of their best players on their roster, a young ascending player, one of the best players in football today, to reacquire their original first-round pick that they initially dealt for Jamal Adams? Does pride come into play here? I don't know. I don't know these guys personally. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But when I look at it that way, I find it's hard to think about, right? It's hard to sell that to the Seahawks fans. Like, oh, we're trading away one of our best players on the team to get our first-round pick back from the Jets. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough sell. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to, man, I really cannot wait to see where you guys stand on this. And I don't really think there's a right or wrong answer either, because I feel like in both scenarios, right, we either hang on to 10 or we acquire Metcalf. We are getting much better as a football team. The question is how much better, and which decision will lead you to more productivity moving forward. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.